remarks, describing the comments as disinformation that stigmatizes and dehumanizes compatriots abroad. Meanwhile, Donald Trump says that pop sensation Taylor Swift will, as he put it, pay a price for her endorsement of Kamala Harris following the debate. In a Fox News interview, Mr. Trump said he was not a fan of the singer, describing her as too progressive. Swift announced her support for the vice president in a social media post, calling her a steady-handed and gifted leader. Analysts say the young women who comprise much of Swift's loyal base are likely to be a key demographic in this election. For more on the endorsement, I spoke to Mark Harvey, who is the director of the Masters of Business Administration program at the University of St Mary and has been studying how celebrity trends influence politics. Mark, as celebrity endorsements go, does it get any bigger than Taylor Swift?
At the moment, no. Taylor Swift is probably the most popular person on the planet. She's a phenomenon in a way that really few entertainers have been since maybe Michael Jackson or the Beatles or Elvis. I mean, I think she's really kind of up there. And so I think default, it makes her potentially very influential.
Yeah, given how tight this election is, what difference could this really make?
Well, I am not sure about that because it's really hard to say. I mean, first of all, you need to take the variables into account that most political scientists do, right? Most people are not going to vote just because Taylor Swift says so, right? I mean, it's going to be things like the economy, political ID, and things are so polarized in this country right now that people have already chosen sides. So we're really talking about margins that are super small among undecided people or mobilizing people who won't vote anyway. And so if she were able to be influential in this case, then it could make a significant difference because this election is potentially so close that, who knows, maybe that could make a difference.
Is getting young people to vote going to be her key influence here? I mean, we've already seen some figures through from vote.org, which is the site that she shared. Hundreds of thousands of people have logged on since she encouraged them to.
Yes, I would say potentially, yes, that would be the intention. I will also say that I've done some research with a couple of colleagues of mine, Allison Shortle from Oklahoma University and Brooklyn Walker from Hutchinson College. And it was basically a study with over 1,000 people. And the question had to do with whether or not Taylor Swift would be influential in this election. And what we actually found is that most respondents were actually very turned off by Taylor Swift's potential political endorsement. And the conclusion would be that, perhaps it would have a negative effect in terms of people wanting to vote. And they may not like her because she's being political.
Oh, tell us more about the survey. So that's interesting. What was the age group of the people that you surveyed?
It's a whole diversity of groups. So it's across the board. And keep in mind, I'm just beginning to dissect the numbers. It's not been published yet, but that's just sort of our initial take on some of the numbers so far.
What did you make of the timing, Mark, of the endorsement? Because if celebrities help a candidate in terms of keeping their name high up in the news cycle, but that wasn't needed last night. That's all anyone was talking about was the debate.
I know. And that's interesting, right? You would think, all right, well, when would be a good time for her to intervene? Would it be during the Democratic National Convention? Well, there's a lot of positives for Kamala Harris during that time. Last night seems like, it wouldn't be a very good intuitive time as far as really trying to deliver a blow. And in fact, that makes it difficult for people like me who also measure the effects of things. When you have one big event sitting next to a major endorsement, how can you disentangle the two? So I'm probably not going to be able to tell you whether or not it made a huge difference, right? But I will say that, I don't know, maybe it doubled the buzz or maybe it was just more of the same.
I mean, I watched Tim Walz being told about the endorsement live. He clearly didn't have any idea and he was absolutely thrilled. Put his arm on his chest, he looked delighted. I mean, the Harris team surely are thrilled by this endorsement. This is something that they've been looking for a while.
Yeah, and if I were a candidate, I would be absolutely thrilled if Taylor Swift would endorse me as well. And that's the thing that's a little bit difficult to disentangle when you look at the literature, when you look at the actual research, because granted, it may be possible that her endorsement may turn certain people off. But at the same time, we also know that when celebrities start talking about issues and candidates, then people are more likely to pay attention. So sometimes attention is just going to be good, just to have more of it. And again, it's hard to know exactly what her effect would be. If she's mobilized 338 million people to go register to vote, that's a definite effect that we can look at. Whether or not that helps Harris or hurts Harris, I don't know.
Mark, what's the most powerful celebrity endorsement that we've seen here in the US?
I think it's Oprah Winfrey. I mean, it's the only case we can really point to and say, okay, this person made an endorsement and had an effect. And it happened when Barack Obama was running for president, in fact, running for the Democratic nomination to run for president. She made an endorsement, and it probably made a difference in terms of 1 million votes. And this is pretty solid research that has supported that. It really is difficult to determine whether or not celebrity endorsements make a huge difference most of the time because of all of the other variables that are out there that affect people's votes. People are asking, how much does gas cost? What's the economy like? What's my political identification? All sorts of questions. It's not usually what does Taylor Swift think?